I'm about as qualified to do this as a boomer is to give you advice on how to find a job. I met my husband a little over 16 years ago. We've been married for over 13 years. If you apply my standards on today's dating market, it's pretty likely you would screen out everybody. I would also 100% not recommend finding a man the way that I did. My husband and I were both raised by extremely toxic families deep in conservative evangelical cuckoo land. You know, I keep saying I struck gold. You didn't realize that I did it standing on that 100-mile island of trash in the Pacific Ocean. Again, I don't want to brag. I'm just trying to be upfront about my situation. I also did not realize at the time that I was demisexual. Nevertheless, my husband and I did have an intellectual and emotional connection and a friendship before we started dating. I think that helped with my screening process much more than I realized. But this is what I would tell my nieces when they're old enough to date. It is really, really important to have the same values. There's a fundamental disagreement right now over who should have rights and what rights they should have. And if you're not on the same page about that, you're going to end up in a bad situation. Look at how he treats everyone around him, not just you. Modern men especially have a tendency to try to butter up while they're dating and then bait and switch as soon as there's a commitment locked in. So look at how he treats his friends, people in front of him in line at the coffee shop, waitstaff at restaurants, the teller at the bank, especially people who are smaller and weaker than him. Especially make sure that they're kind to animals. I think that says a lot about a man. It's not applicable for us, but from what I've seen from men in the meantime, look at how they talk about their exes. If it's all, well, she was crazy, it was her fault, that's a red flag to me. They seem hung up on them, also a red flag. My husband is also a very generous person. Pretty apparent in the video that got all the views that we're fairly financially secure. We have a lot of disposable income, and he donates very generously to charity. And not even to show off to me. Many times I don't even realize it until we get the thank you note in the mail. There are always charities for groups that he's not a part of. He's a straight, cis, white male who gives to education and advocacy nonprofits for marginalized groups. A lot of people said, look for the nerds, look for the geeks. I agree to some extent. There are a lot of fandoms now that are very misogynistic. Anyone in the Harry Potter fandom, make sure that they are engaging with the IP in a responsible way. Make sure he seems interested in you. Does he ask you questions? If you tell him a story, does he listen and respond? They're very basic things, but they seem to be sorely lacking in the dating market today. And finally, I think a person's sense of humor says a lot about them. Because I'm neurodivergent, I never really responded well to that social pressure of, oh, it's just a joke, just laugh it off. If you don't laugh at this terribly mean thing I did, then you're just a stick in the mud. If a man is laughing by making fun of those around him, by pranking people or putting them down, honestly, I think deep down he's not a good person. For reference, this is the video that has my husband in stitches sporadically for the past month or two.
You're a dangerous man. Yes, 666.
My name is Josh Van Josh.
Who's got religious trauma? Couldn't be us.